Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping to another session of Epic 7 out today. Got some more PvE content for you guys. Some of you have been requesting some more PvE content, but there's really not that much I can do on the game, because things like Abyss, there's already a bunch of guides that are out there. And yeah, it would be kind of redundant of me to just repeat the same strategies over and over. However, when it comes to the Advent events, there are multiple different ways that you can approach the battles depending on what units you have. Now, obviously, my units are going to differ from yours, but if this gives you any semblance of an idea of what you can tweak in your own teams, then that'll be quite nice, right? So this is my team here, Team 1, Team 2, Team 3 for the fight. I'll show you guys the stats afterwards, but let's go ahead and jump into a run so I can kind of explain how this goes. So for the first team, we have Zahak, Watcher Shuri, and Rylet. You can of course do this with things like Celine because of his non-attack skill at the start. I've used Politis in trying different strategies as well. I see people using things like Violet too. I just found him to be a little too slow. Also, mine's level 50. But Zahak here normally goes first. He gives the attack buff to Watcher Shuri. Rylet will attack buff himself. And these three units essentially just one-shot, quote-unquote one-shot the boss here. And he'll be moving on into the second phase. So the second phase, I found Ed to be one of the most valuable units here. Lilius, with a recent buff, being able to do damage is actually quite nice, because you do want to clear out the waves of mobs here to be able to do a bit more damage to the boss. Meru is probably one of the best units to use for the second wave because of her AoE. And of course you have Magic for Friends that can proc, which can help clear the wave, or if Ed gets debuffed he can also clear the wave. If I tweak the damage stats on my units a little bit, it probably would work a lot smoother, but I re-geared 0 units to do this. That's usually my approach to all PvE content, especially Advent, which is really annoying, and one of my least favorite modes in the game, but I try to approach these with as little to no re-gearing as possible. The only unit I kind of moved a bit of gear around was for the Soul Bad Guy in the 3rd round. But even then, it wasn't even removing gear from units that are currently being used. I just kind of moved a rage set around for the soul. Lidica here is actually really nice because look what she can do in the fight. Okay, never mind. She got 15%ed. You can actually push the boss back. Now, I haven't tried with Eligos. I'm pretty sure if you built Eligos with a bit of effectiveness, that he will be able to do some shenanigans too. Now, Soul gets the greater attack buff. My Lidica could actually defense break the boss. As you can see here, she is on Miss Conceal, which means that Soul Bad Guy will be dealing a bunch of damage, as you can see with his S1. If there's a defense break on the first hit with Lidica, right with her S3, then the boss essentially almost just explodes immediately. But you're going to see here, Soul's going to get another turn, and he's going to finish the boss off. This was kind of a not perfect ideal run, because Lidica didn't defense break on her first hit, but you still see how fast it runs, right? So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this team, and it really is quite efficient with, again, no re-gearing. So let me go ahead and show you guys the units one at a time here. So starting off with the first team, again, you don't have to have Watcher Shuri or Rylet, and even if your units are slightly less damaged than mine, it just takes a little bit longer. But this is my PvP Zahak, you know, just doing his standard shenanigans with the attack buff, the cleanse, and all of that. Let's go ahead and check out the Watcher Shuri here. Again, PvP build. Didn't change anything, didn't even change his artifact. You could probably get a bunch more damage by running something like Portrait or anything like that on him. Next up we have Rylet. Again, I didn't change any of his gear. This is just my PvP Rylet. He's running Shepherd of the Hollow, which doesn't really do all that much, besides increase a bit of damage. You don't really care about the evasion in the first round. For the second team, my Ed, again, my PvP Ed. Your Ed does not have to be as fast. Your Ed could be slower. He doesn't need to be on pen set. He doesn't even need Sigurd's Scythe. But that's what I use. And next up we have my newly geared Lilius from her recent buffs. So 50% crit rate is all you need. You could get a bunch more crit damage. I see people running 280, 290 crit damage, but mine is not that great. She doesn't even need this artifact here. It's probably better that you don't run that artifact. In fact, it's kind of useless on her. But again, minimal re-gearing is my goal when it comes to PvE content. Mercedes here. She's again PvE, counter, immunity. She doesn't need to be on counter set. Do have her on Magic for Friends though. It's just her best in-slot artifact in general. She doesn't need to be on immunity or anything like that too. Moving on to the last team, my level 50 PvE mascot Hazel. I absolutely love her. Didn't re-gear for anything. Again, she's the build that I use for Nightmare Raid and all that other PvE content. She doesn't need to be on Potion Vials. You can actually probably run her on a supporting artifact, but again, I don't feel like moving gear around for the next 2 weeks. Lidica here, she does not need to be this fast, by the way. You can have a much slower 240 speed Lidica, like it's fine. You can slap some spare gear on her. Just needs a speed set and at least, I think, 70 effectiveness because the boss has 85 resist. I have her on Miscom Feel. If you don't have Miscom Feel, run her on Song of the Stars. It works perfectly fine. Her EE doesn't really matter, but I have on the extra Dispel buff, which kind of helps when the boss does get his 2 buffs sometimes if you resist Lidica's, what is it, unbuffable, yeah, or sorry, not the unbuffable. I guess she doesn't have an unbuffable. Oh no, Soul Bad Guy's unbuffable. Yeah, so he actually has that on his S3. So here we go. Lidica also provides a lot of buffs because, debuffs for my soul, who is on a rage set. It's not a great rage set to spare one that I had laying around. And he's on Daydream Joker. The boss isn't really super affected by Daydream Joker. You could probably get away with something better. But then again, I don't want to slap all my PvP artifacts onto Soul just so he can clear the wave a bit faster. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my team. Hopefully this helps you guys out in your runs. Let me know in the comments section down below what your teams look like and if you think there could be any improvements to mine. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe for more Epic 7 content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.